We are live. I'm here with my man, Ben Has Words. How are you doing, Ben?
I'm really good. How are you, Alan?
Good. It's been a couple weeks because I had travel and all sorts of stuff. So to those in the chat, by the way, I did need to announce that I found out this morning that Alchemy will not be released on the 15th. It will be the 22nd. All right. Because it's arriving at our facility at either the 15th or the 16th because of USPS taking fucking forever. So it will be released on the 22nd. All right. So Alchemy, the follow-up to No Morbidity, the glucose disposal agent made up of 4 patent ingredients at clinically tested human doses that is going to help people that have sugar addiction, help people with carb cravings, have people with insulin resistance, really going to help women with PCOS. That will be on the 22nd of August of this month. Very exciting. So, how the fuck you been?
Yeah, here we go. Yeah.
I figured we would just let all this shit hang out. First of all, Baz is coming, but he's late because he's black. So, I mean, he just lives
to the races.
He lives the stereotype. It's so not true. Like our one business partner, Mike Rashid, is up before everybody. He's early, like fucking almost like, and I'm early, but he's like compulsively early. So I just fuck with Baz about it though. So that and like that way somebody can get a good sound clip claiming I'm a white supremacist or something like that. Have you seen that in the news? How they're pushing that again too? How we're all white supremacists for working out?
What I find funny about all of this is how like the bar of entry into white supremacy lowers with each passing month. Like like when Larry Elder was running for governor of California, and they would say like the black face of white supremacy, and it's like, and how you'd see a lot of people going like, "Hey, I'm getting a lot of shout outs in the chat. Thank you guys. Yeah, hello to you all. Pleasure to be back." But it's so funny to me how like, because to me, alarm bells started ringing when they would say things like, "You can be racist and still have black friends." It's like, can you?
Can you really?
Why would I, someone's going to clip this, why would I, as a self-respecting racist, befriend racists that I don't like? Why would I do that? I don't understand.
The bar is very, very, very low because I grew up in a very different time than this. And we, like, real racists, like, they would not, like, there's no handshaking, there's no nothing, like, you're not going to be kicking it, but like, hey, I really fucking hate you for your skin color, but let me buy you a beer. Like, that's stupid shit.
It doesn't happen.
Somebody said, use a number 2 pencil equals white supremacist. Yes. That's very true.
And this is the point, is it's like, and now it's slipped down to the point where black people can apparently be white supremacists.
Yeah.
And it's just like, where, like, but then that comes from this idea that now whiteness, quote unquote, is not limited to pigmentation. It's now character traits. So like, apparently, turning up on time, or as we're finding out of late, exercising. And someone needs to tell, like, Usain Bolt, someone needs to tell half the UFC roster, someone needs to tell half of the Team GB and Team USA Olympic teams that apparently, if you're exercising and want to get yourself to peak physical condition, that's apparently a white thing.
And somebody put something interesting in the comment. They said, right here, many white supremacists are Mexican dudes. which I'm not gonna. I don't know, to tell you the truth, but I just got to say, like, there's a little difference between like believing in stupid stereotypes. Like I just joked about Baz being late because it's a black person stereotype. Right. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But there's a little difference between believing in stupid stereotypes and even making fun of them than being a supremacist. You know what I mean? Like, just because you notice differences in people doesn't mean you think you deserve life more than them or that you're more supreme to them. You know what I mean? Like, like I find this like this, it has to be so polarizing. Like you're either, kissing the ass of whatever dogma they want you to kiss, or you're completely 100% against it. And I just find that to be a little weird. I just find it to be a little weird. I have friends that like are, I have black friends that don't date black women,
oh, wow.
Are they white supremacists because they don't like black women? They just, and it may be something they're not attracted to. It's the same thing like how the fat acceptance movement all the time calls me a racist because I say that you can't be a fucking melted fucking snow cone and be healthy. Somehow that's white supremacist, you know, like, and I find it kind of like we're in this weird world where like bow down. I remember a couple years ago, like people on TikTok were asking me like, well, do you support Black Lives Matter? And I was like, I support Black people, but not Black Lives Matter. You know, because Black Lives Matter is a political entity. I don't support political entities, right? And
that's a huge difference.
Right. Oh, but
these people hijack. So Black Lives Matter hijack those three words so that then if you speak against the movement, it's very easy to conflate that with speaking against the sentiment, which is nobody is against that sentiment. You will not find anybody in your daily life that is against that sentiment. And this is the problem I have with all of it but I think it all stems from this fixation on identity and label. Like I've long since sort of mused that if you are offended by something, it means you're too easily defined by it. So like if I'm speaking to a woman and I make a joke at the expense of women in general and she gets offended, so no, there needs to be more to your person than just the fact that you're a woman. There needs to be more to your person than your color. There needs to be more to your person than your sex. Then there is more to you. There are so many facets to you, but you are letting, frankly, the most boring ones take precedent to your own detriment because you're letting people offend you.
Well, I find people that take pride in shit that's just they're born with is kind of fucking weird. Like white pride always sounded weird to me.
It's weird. Like, that's a very weird thing.
You're setting the bar that low on what you need to be proud about, that it's about your fucking skin color. Same thing with black pride. Like, I'm proud to be a black person. Why? What the fuck?
Yeah.
How about like what
you had no choice.
Yeah, it's not like you did something, you didn't accomplish anything. And I even believe the same thing for like for homosexuals. Like, I think that's just how people are born. You know what I mean? Like, and to me, like the Pride Month. What the fuck are you proud about? Like, I mean, like, I mean, I had sex with my husband.
Baz and I joke about this a lot.
Yeah.
We joke about this a lot about how, like, when you think about it for more than a hot minute, it's weird to be proud of who you sleep with. That's just strange. Like, and also, but surely the goal that we had once upon a time is if it's not noteworthy that you and I are attracted to women, in the ideal scenario, it's neither noteworthy for you to be attracted to men as a homosexual man or any other configuration you can conjure up. Like if we're really at the point where we want to be, where I do believe we want to be, then neither are noteworthy. None are noteworthy. It's not like if I said to anybody, I'm so proud of my heterosexuality, everyone would go like, you need to get a life, man. You need to get a life. What are you doing? You're not doing enough. Like, I don't care what it is. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's stamp collecting at that point. Go and do something that is more productive than being proud of who you're sleeping with. And because also, if the pride takes that much precedent, I'm willing to bet you ain't sleeping with nobody because you're too preoccupied congratulating yourself for having a sexuality.
Well, that's like, things have gotten so weird right now. Like Mark texted me something earlier, and Mark was talking about like 2 years ago, Mark's wife had an explant she had breast implants, and she had to have them taken out because she was having very serious deleterious side effects. And by the way, ladies, don't ever get those. I mean, don't ever, because it's just literally putting a poison sac in your body, right?
Yeah.
But and somebody called him a simp for his wife. Like, you're just a simp. Like, dude has 3 kids, married for like fucking 20 fucking years, and like they're calling him a simp for his wife. Like, first of all, you fucking ain't right. I would step in front of a bullet for my wife.
Yeah.
Hands down. Like, if my wife needed a kidney transplant and I wasn't a match, somebody might be in trouble out there. You know what I mean? Because I'm gonna go match hunting.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, because it's not gonna be her. It's gonna be one of you motherfuckers. Like, I mean, I'm just that's how I am. If you call that simping, okay, you know, like, but it's this weird thing where men, like some younger men, have gotten to the point where they're like trying to say, like, you know, anything but having a complete, like, a woman that's completely submissive to your every
Yeah.
whim and doesn't like if you don't have that, you're a simp. Like who the fuck wants that? You know what I mean? Like I like only weak men would want that. You know what I mean? Like I want something that somebody
Yeah.
that like I love that Crystal challenges me intellectually. You know what I mean? And like
Yeah.
and I love that like if I say something stupid, she's like, that was fucking stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and it happens fairly regularly, people. It happens fairly regularly. But
Well,
like
no,
it's
like,
just
yeah, because I have it with my wife as well, where she will sometimes deliberately hold the opposite view.
Mhm.
Like, and it's not necessarily a view that she holds, but it's, have you thought about it this way? And it's like, and this idea that it, the bit that I don't get is that in a long-term partner, you'd only want one flavor. It's like,
Right.
no, you've got a lifetime. You want all of it. I
Yeah.
want the like you the I want the submissive one. Hey, I made you this, or I made you a meal, or whatever. As much as I want the you're being a dick, and we need to talk about it. I
Yeah.
need all of it because
Yeah.
we're messy, complicated beings. And so
Absolutely.
why do you want this one flavor for the rest of your life? But you're right, because it's coming from young guys. And the trouble is they're listening to these manosphere types who often are very, very rich and
Mhm.
very, very fickle.
Yeah.
And it's like, and the thing is, now I'm not necessarily calling foul on that because I'm not in their position. What I am
Right.
saying is it may work for them because they have immense levels of wealth and power and
Right.
influence. If you don't have that, then no, you can't have a harem. You
Yeah.
can't, or you can try, but it's not going to help. It's not going to further your position.
Well, I find it to be like people look at these like and good or bad exceptional people like
Yeah,
whether it's a good or bad thing, they're exceptional in some way, right? And they think like, well, that person has it, so I should have it. It's like I used to get people to be like, well, I'm going to go on the diet the Rock is on. Like you're going to end up fat as fuck. First of all, it's expensive as
right.
fuck.
Yeah,
And secondly,
yeah,
you don't burn 8,000 calories a goddamn day. I don't even think
yeah,
the Rock eats like the
yeah,
Rock claims, to tell you the truth. I really don't believe it. But
yeah,
like, like 4 pounds of cod in a day, 2 pounds of beef, like fucking like, come on
right.
now, like,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
but people say that all the time. I'm always like, you're not the Rock. Like I got a couple of people that signed up about 2 years ago, like when I first did the full transformation thing, when I finally showed like shirtless pictures and shit like that. People are like, well, I want the same transformation you had. Like, buddy, like I've been working out for 38 fucking years. The foundation's been
yeah,
there for a long time. It's not going to be the same
yeah,
thing, right? But I just find that you know society, and this brings me to my other thing that we'll segue into the Lizzo shit. Like society picks these people who are exceptional in some way and then idolizes them, like deifies them almost to the point
yeah,
where they like anything that they say is gold and they believe every little word. And like, I find that to be like, it's like the same thing with Hollywood, like people look to these Hollywood stars like, well, what do they think about this topic? Like, why the fuck do you care about what people think when they're famous because
yeah,
we like how they lie about being somebody else. Like we like how they pretend to be somebody else on film, and you like them. Like I can even understand musicians almost a little bit more than actors, because musicians, especially if they write their own music, there's some like some creative, logical process. Like I love independent rappers that write their own lyrics because I find it kind of
yeah.
amazing. Like the thought process, right? But if you're reading from a script and you're just pretending, you do a good job of pretending to be somebody else. I don't know why we deify these people. Like I just have no idea.
Well,
But they
it's
do that.
I don't get, to your point. I don't get why, like with a lot of these guys, like with the whole, like I'll be honest, I don't even know what these definitions are anymore, like red pill and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
I thought red pill was realizing that the government was lying to you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But apparently, it's, then there's this whole sort of dating angle to it, this whole sort of pursuing women angle to it. And what I don't get is, okay, so you're red pilled, you freed yourself from one set of shackles. Now all you've done is shackle yourself down again and dispense with your ability to critically think. Like, you need to take the stimulus that is presented to you and respond to that. So I know, like, for example, on this stream before, we have talked about Tate. I genuinely really like the quote from him, "What color's your Bugatti?" I think that's a great quote,
Yeah.
because I love that of like well, do you have one? Well, shut up then. As in like,
Mm-hmm.
you can critique me, but until you're on my level, until you've experienced what I've experienced, it's basically a repackaging of people in glass houses. But nevertheless, it's a good thing for young guys to hear, I think, which is, it's all very well cast in stones, but what are you doing? Look at yourself first. Have you got a Bugatti? And I like that, but it's like, that doesn't mean that de facto I subscribe to every single other thing that has come out of the man's mouth. And this is my issue, is like, these guys, they go like, oh, this my team now? And it feels like they're constantly searching for a team to represent. It's like, no, step forth and be the individual. Like you do need a group. Of course you do. You need a support structure. You need friends. You need a community. But you should be able, and forgive me, ladies, but particularly as a man, you should be able to stand on your own 2 feet and take what the world's going to throw at you. Because sometimes what it's going to throw at you is betrayal from your friends and your community. Like that's something I really genuinely do believe, is you have to be able to establish for yourself. And that's difficult when you're young. And I say that as a young person, as Alan and Baz never let me forget. But it's the point of like, it gets easier as you get older, because you learn more about yourself and you become more comfortable in your own skin, at least if you're doing most things right. But it's like, you should be able to ascertain for yourself what you think about something, rather than just regurgitating what somebody else has said. It's and that's not to say don't take inspiration either. Take inspiration, learn from other people, absolutely, but really know if you think it.
I'm also kind of amazed, like, to the Tate fans. I'm also kind of amazed at how many of them are physically just like wimpy looking, inferior fucking dudes. When one of the reasons why he's very confident is because he's a fucking championship kickboxer. Yeah. And you would think that they would like cause these people to like the red pill dating guys. Most of the red pill dating guys are physically kind of fucking, like maybe you should hit the fucking gym. You won't have to you won't have to worry about your pickup lines, But I did want to segue into the Lizzo shit. So what all do you know about it? Or you know nothing about it?
All I know is that apparently she fat shamed her dancers. Now, it's funny.
It's so much worse than that. Okay, because here's the thing: the fat shaming thing, and I did a whole video about this. Right, the fat shaming thing. She told one of her dancers like, somebody said, "Hang on, Alan. I've seen many African American women who had a few extra pounds on them that were gorgeous. Lizzo doesn't have a few extra pounds. She's got like 150.
She has a few extra. On her.
And whether you like how it looks or not, it's massively unhealthy to be that big.
Oh my god!
Yeah. But anyway, so the fat shaming thing, I don't even think she fat shamed these people. I think that I think that the definition is just extended to any time you call a person fat that doesn't like to be called fat, because they are in fact fucking fat, right? But because she basically said like this person gained a bunch of weight and wasn't performing as well for dancing, and she's the boss, and she's like, hey, if you can't do it. Now, I'm not there, so I didn't hear word for word, but I can say like, well, somebody's saying like, if you can't physically perform your job because you've gotten fatter, you should lose some weight. I don't consider that fat shaming. I consider that business, right? But dude, it gets so much more bizarre than that. Like, she is like, it's a hostile workplace fucking suit. And these are the ones that I'm thinking like, yes, this is a hostile work environment. First, there's one lady that says when she quit, she fired these two dancers, and the third one quit. And when she quit, Lizzo was like balling up her fists and like pretending like she like acting like aggressive, like she was going to hit her. You can't do that as an employer. Like you can't do that. That is an aggressive, hostile work environment, right? Hang on a second. Alan has forced me to YouTube. I don't think he's streaming anywhere else these days. Rumble just made it very hard to fucking stream on, and I am this weekend. I will have everything back up onto Spotify, because I mean they weren't paying me, so I was going to put it on there for a little bit. So they're paying me now. So, but anyway, back to the Lizzo stuff. I can't even believe I got to say this. So there was many instances where she like apparently was like just not nice to people and everything like that. But when they were in Amsterdam, and you need to be ready for this, when they were in Amsterdam, She had her dancers go out to a club with her, and apparently did not tell her dancers that it was a sex club, right? So these are her employees, right? And she was encouraging the dancers to shoot dildos out of their vaginas at the dancers and have the dancers catch them. So I'm going to argue that having a dildo shot out of a sex worker's vagina is a hostile work environment.
Yeah.
Pretty much 10 out of 10 times. Okay.
Yeah.
Then she kind of made it seem like she was rooting them on or making them eat a banana that was half inside of the sex worker, right? And then she forced one of her security guys to strip on stage and stuff like that. I got a newsflash for you. Imagine if a white man would have done that with his group of backup dancers in Amsterdam. There's a likely chance he'd be dead. I mean, people would have come for him.
He certainly wouldn't be performing again.
He would not be performing ever, ever, ever again. Because I will say this: people are like, well, they didn't have to. She's their employer. She holds their job. They're in a different country with her. Okay, she's like their ticket back to their home country. I'm going to argue that is like, it's the same thing. Like, the woman didn't have to like give her boss a fucking hand job, but he would fire her if not. Like, that's sexual harassment.
Yeah.
That is sexual harassment. Like 10 out of 10, and the dude should go to fucking jail because it's fucking disgusting.
Yeah. You're right. I agree. It's a hostile work environment, even if that sex club is your work environment.
Yes.
Like that's still hostile. Forcing somebody to eat a banana that is half inside a woman.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So I'm going to argue, and what I find amazing, and this is where, like, we were talking about, like, the tribalness of it. There should have been literally nothing, like nothing that stopped her from being like super fucking, so we don't believe women anymore. 3 women came forward and said this happened, right? And people are like, well, I don't necessarily believe them and this and that. Why not? Okay, because it's Lizzo. Like, I mean, and I've proven on this channel multiple times that she's full of shit. She's a hypocrite. She says one thing and does another thing, right? Like, she's body positive but owns a shapewear line. Like, if you're so body positive, why do you need to fucking change your shapewear, right? But
because it buckles. But yeah, I know the point you're making.
So, there's more, because since this has happened, apparently more complaints have come forward. There's been a woman that, like, the woman who was dating some guy for 10 years who's befriended Lizzo, held their baby, held her and her man's baby, and then stole her man. So that's not illegal, but that just goes to show that this woman's not a good person, right? But more complaints have come forward. More complaints have come forward, and I just find it, like, from other past dancers and shit like that, right? So here's what I'm looking at. 1 week after Lizzo was sued for sexual harassment, more ex-dancers are apparently coming forward. Is it time for celebrities to give up PR as politics as PR? I'm going to argue that there was never time to have politics as PR if you were a celebrity anyway, because who gives a fuck about what you say? Fucking, you're the entertainment. Fucking dance, sing, fucking act, do what the fuck you want to do. But your opinion should not be, like, it should not be the go-to, right? As far as I'm concerned, right? But the popular body positivity icon was slapped with a 37-page lawsuit last week in which former employees accused her of sexual harassment and, most paradoxically, body shaming. I don't understand, and I mean this, I don't understand why the media is going towards the body shaming thing more than the actual fucking what would be considered sexual assault. She forced people to do sexual things. I'm sorry, but that is sexual assault. Like, she was somebody's employer and said, do this. To take them to, like, it's at least sexual harassment. Like, it's at least sexual harassment. So, but they're going to keep going back to the body shaming thing, right? Which in my mind minimizes the other shit, right? And I find it just disgusting. But now, furthermore, a further 6 former employees have weighed in with their further complaints, leading many wondering if Lizzo's brand which is so intimately intertwined with her empowering message, can survive the blow. It shouldn't survive the blow. I mean, there's been people, the lady that filmed her documentary, that was getting ready to film her documentary, said it was such a toxic environment, she quit after 2 weeks. So what's going to turn out is that this woman was one way on camera and a different way behind the scenes. And that's why I tell people all the time, like, I've had people over the years, as the channel grew, they're like they like almost like kind of latch on as if like they're like we're like a part of a group together or something like that. I am just some fucking dude that swears a lot. Like anybody you see on this thing, know that they're just human fucking beings, right? And the problem is when we deify these people,
I've just seen in the chat actually, Elizabeth Spawn, I'm boycotting Lizzo. I love her lyrics, but hate her as a person. I'm sort of like, there's no denying that she is the singer of the moment. She is the musical artist of the moment. And she's clearly very talented. But the trouble is, like, how much do you let somebody get away with? I find it, you're absolutely right to point that out as well at the start of the article. It's with so many things like this, it's not what's said, it's what's not said, it's what's outside the frame. Right. So when they say, is it time to stop using politics as PR, as you point out, implies that there was in fact a time where it was fine to use politics as PR, which it isn't. It's like, no, you should be getting recognition based on merit. And the funny thing about Lizzo is you have merit. You're a very good singer with some very popular songs. It just so happens that you look like a trash bag filled with discarded omelets. And because I firmly believe, like, I've just been on holiday in Ibiza.
Discarded omelets,
which is, for anyone who doesn't know, a Spanish island, like a party island where everyone's in bikinis and swimming shorts all day. I do think that you shouldn't sell, fashion retailers, listen up, you shouldn't be able to sell leggings and bikinis above a certain size. If you're above a certain size, your first goal is get down to a better size, and I do mean better, and then you will be able to buy the clothes that you want. Because my God, especially with these bikinis now, like Lizzo wears them on her TikTok. The one where they're like the woman's buttocks are consuming the bottoms of the bikini. You know the ones I mean? Like, yeah, where it looks like a scrunched up piece of wrapping paper. It looks like, first of all, it just looks like the bikini doesn't fit you when you're at any size. I don't like that anyway on a woman, but that's taste. But it's just like these ones where it looks like your body, you're so fat that your body is consuming your own clothes because its insatiable appetite still hasn't been quenched. Oh, hello, Baz.
Hello.
Right on top.
We're just getting into how we've just agreed unanimously that clothing retailers should not sell leggings or bikinis.
We did not agree unanimously to that. I don't agree with that.
Have we?
Here's my thing. I think that all fitness clothing should come in all sizes. Like, I really believe that, because like we want them to be there. Bikinis and stuff like that, because that's not the thing that bothers me. Like, I mean, like, I really don't like if you want to wear a bikini and you're 400 pounds, I don't give a shit. That doesn't affect me. It really doesn't.
Right.
be offended. But my thing is this, like, being proud of how you look at 400 pounds in a bikini, unless you've already lost 200 pounds, I don't think you should be proud of it.
Nope.
I think the pride in unhealthy actions is what gets us there. Like Lizzo telling people, like, I love my curves and I'm proud of me. That's sad, because like, and it's dangerous rhetoric. And a lot, yeah. But it's dangerous rhetoric, because it convinces people that there's nothing wrong when there is in fact something wrong that they should do something about, So Baz, how much do you know about the whole Lizzo thing?
Oh, I've been following this. Oh my God. So close. It's been giving me life every day. I think to myself, you know what? It's going to be another tough day where I have to, be a grown man and behave like a grown man. And then I turn on the news and the Lizzo news comes on, and suddenly just joy, feelings of redemption, feelings of vindication. Just, I can't get enough of. I wish you could bottle it up. Like my erection is visible from space. That's how excited I am about this Lizzo thing. It is my favorite thing to happen in a while because it is, bro. Okay, Ben, I used to work in entertainment. I used to be a stand-up comic. Entertainers and Alan, you know this because you know good musicians. I'm sure you make friends with like the right ones, but you know that they're mostly monsters. You know that they're mostly monsters, and you know that they hide behind this veneer of them not being monsters. And it's just nice to see, someone who pretending not to be a monster be outed as a monster, and it's great. I'm excited. I'm really happy. I mean, I'm not excited for the girls. Sucks for them. That's it's no fun having to eat a banana out of someone's vagina when you don't want to do that.
Yeah, when you don't want to.
Yeah, but
when you don't want to. When you don't want to. Right. Go on.
But when you say you feel bad for the dancers, let's spare a thought for them. When something that registers seismically when it walks tells you that you've put on weight,
you fat.
That is enough. That is enough to make anyone violent. That would send me into the stratosphere.
What's that scene from?
I can't believe how hypocritical that is.
What's that scene from?
Super hypocritical.
What's that scene from Bring It On? These aren't spirit fingers. These are spirit fingers.
Yeah.
Like exactly the same thing. Same thing. And I feel bad for those girls. Why? Because there's no, like, if you're aware of the dancing world and the dancing market, they're never going to get another job.
They're not getting another
job.
No,
because they're fat. Like
exactly
because Lizzo's convinced them. Like I was telling Alan about when I was away on holiday. I was chatting to a girl about the whole
away
bikini
on holiday,
thing. And then and all right on vacation.
Thank you.
Anyway,
I
was chatting to somebody when I was away about this whole thing, and I said like, I don't know how the subject got onto fat acceptance and that kind of stuff, and then I went, yeah, but they're fat, and then she went, that's really rude. No, it's not rude. That's not rude. That is as rude as somebody going, Ben, you've got curly hair. It's just an observation. It's not that. It's not. That's neither this way. That's not an opinion. They're fat. It's like, and then what she said was even more rude. Was when she said, well, "What do you propose they do about it?" It's like lose weight. And apparently that's not serviceable as a solution. But I just, oh man, but like, yeah.
Welcome to my world every day. Welcome to my world every day. I hear that every day. Every day.
Yeah.
Well, but you're being rude. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Because I talk almost specifically about like obesity and losing weight and stuff like that. And like people pretend like it's impossible. Like people pretend like not everybody, like there's not a human being on the planet that couldn't lose weight. Like, I mean,
right.
Like reality exists. And I say this every day, multiple times. Reality exists. Right. And but what Baz was saying, the reality is these people aren't going to get more jobs, frankly, because society has kind of lied to these women in general and thinking that you're going to be a professional, because professional dancers are
hot.
Hot, but they're professional.
Alan's like, besides the point.
They're professional.
I'm like, let's focus.
Let's
you're right.
On what's important. They're professional athletes. It just so happens that an athletic body happens to be considered a sexy body because of how we evolved.
Correct.
And that's 100% the truth. That's
right.
Fitness is viewed as more aesthetically appealing because it's not disease.
Yes.
Because like. I mean, it's just
that shouldn't be so funny, but it is. It's funny because you're right.
You're right. It shouldn't be funny, but in our society, it's so funny.
I look at a photo of Lizzo and think it stinks. Like I've never met the woman. I probably never will meet the woman. But you're absolutely right, because that disease trigger in my head is just like there's probably something that lingers. There's a musk there.
I bet you there's a Andrew Huberman probably on that. Have you ever seen Andrew Huberman explain? Yeah, he's explained it, foot fetishes in a similar fashion. The reason why people are into feet or clean feet is because thousands or so or years ago, or hundreds or so years ago, clean feet were indicative of health. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Yeah. So I bet you. Gone.
What about eating bananas out of crevices? What about that? What does Andrew Huberman say about that?
The way he said crevices sounded very like,
I know
you've got candy in a van.
I didn't want to be
fucking time. Every time.
I didn't want to be crass.
And you didn't want to be crass? Okay.
Yeah.
Then why'd you say crevices?
Crevices. Yes. I don't want to be crass, but vagina. Like what? What do you mean? Like,
No, that's what I was. That's what I was avoiding.
I would prefer he said vagina than the way he just said crevices. That's for
right,
sure.
right.
Oh man.
Yeah,
I
mean,
imagine Andrew Huberman explaining that in like a kind of there's a receptor for eating bananas out of and going really going into it.
He does get into it. Go on, sorry.
But society lied to these like there's not a huge market for 250-pound female dancers.
There's not a huge market for dancers. Period.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, basically because they move slow. Like I mean, you can visibly see them; they're physically encumbered. Like I can see you being physically encumbered.
Right.
You know, like it's not like I'm like judging you on an unfair scale. This person moves faster and more gracefully than you because you shake the ground when you fucking dance. You know what I mean? Like it's just reality, right? And so society make it like her doing this like opened up a huge thing, especially on TikTok, where they're like, like the plus size model thing. Well, I'm a plus size model. No, you're not. You're a fucking you are a current political statement that is being fucking pushed by mainstream media, and like at some point in time, reality is going to slap the fuck out of you. Yep. Like I mean, that's the biggest thing. Like people say this to me all the time. Like you're so mean. I'm like, not as mean as diabetes, motherfuckers. I'm hurting your feelings. Diabetes is going to take your fucking feet. You know?
Like literally will take your feet. But diabetes doesn't have a Twitter account, so that's how it gets across.
Well, you know who does have a Twitter account? Auschwitz. I found that out this week. I don't ask me why.
That was a crazy segue.
I'm just saying there might be a diabetes like account. We don't know. There might be a diabetes Twitter account.
It would not surprise me. There's an account for everything on Twitter. It would not
in the chat. In the chat, if there's an account for diabetes, please share it with me, and I will retweet.
If there's not,
if it's not just a Twitter account that posts the same thing every day, which is "We're coming for your feet," I will be so disappointed after this conversation that we've had.
Yeah. You know who's going to own that account?
Do you think it's falling apart?
You. I knew. I was like, Alan's going to. I was like, Alan.
I'm going to own that account.
Alan. As soon as we're done, Alan's going to be like, "Is this taken and
die up?"
Yeah.
But do we think this is going to cause the demise of Lizzo? Do we think this is going to in any way change how she operates?
No.
No. We're not going to get like an Adele reinvention, like when Adele lost loads of weight and looks absolutely amazing now.
Which is just fucking crazy that Adele in my opinion, Adele got more shit for losing weight than Lizzo's getting right now. You know,
yeah. Wow. God, that was a good point.
It's true. Christ. It's true. Ladies, lose some weight. Date an NBA player. It's really that simple. Like it's not that hard. She went up. I don't know if you've seen her ex. She's gone up. She's definitely gone up. Her ex was not a pro athlete. I'll tell you that right now. So no, I don't think anything is going to happen to her because again, my experience in entertainment, these people are monsters. They are held up by a machine, and that machine is not only self-regulating, but it needs for people to be hypocrites, because if people aren't hypocrites, then everyone loses, right? Whether you're a comic, whether you're a musician, whether you're a actor, right? All these people have skeletons in their closets. So they have to make sure that she continues to succeed. Otherwise, you know, the house of cards starts crumbling. And then on top of that, she wasn't really about that life anyways. Let's be honest.
What do you mean she wasn't about that life?
You really think Lizzo gives a shit about fat acceptance or people?
No, absolutely not.
No, she doesn't.
Like I mean, I've made multiple videos about like multiple live videos, like showing like how hypocritical she is. Like she did this one thing where she was like talking about how she's all hippy dippy about her food and into the environment and all this stuff. And then I'm like, you know, then you can just show her reel after reel after reel of her ordering fast food, ordering delivery food, gorging herself to death, getting on private jets and shit like that. Like you aren't about it. You just talk about it. Like that's one of my catchphrases. You got to be about it. Like that's why I work out every day. Like I can't just talk about being fit. I got to be fit. You got to be about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I find that most stars aren't like this. Most stars aren't about it. Like, I mean, they talk like so many of them are just delusional. Like we've allowed them to just like get all fucking crazy. That like the SAG, the Screen Actors Guild writers strike and everything like that.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody gives a fuck. I think that most people, I think that the majority of society is just waiting for, like stuff to be made outside of that, because they've gotten so woke, so political, so driven by one side politically, that they feel that they're like massively important. Like people are like, I'm having to get rid of my apartment because of this writing thing. Like, well, welcome to the fucking real world. Like, because that happens to everybody all the goddamn time. Like, we've elevated. It's what I keep saying. We've elevated people like Lizzo and other people. Like this crazy shit people going on about Beyonce and about like Taylor Swift and shit like that. Like Taylor Swift tickets like are more than college for some people.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck are you doing?
The thing, but like the SAG thing is a great example, because it's like what they've done is, as far as I can work out, is they've goose-stepped themselves into thinking they're a public service. So they've looked at people like sanitation workers who are striking against the city council for more money, like for better wages or better conditions or whatever. And then the Screen Actors Guild, like the writers, have gone like, ours is a cutthroat business. It's like, because it's creativity. You do what you would do if you weren't being paid, and you get paid for it. You do what other people do as a hobby for fun. No one picks up trash for fun. So that's why it's cutthroat. It's a shame that it's taken this for you to realize, because that means that you've had a pretty easy ride of it up to now. If you've realized that the creative industry is absolutely savage when it comes to how competitive it is, and how the reason why you get paid peanuts in the beginning is because you're prepared to accept it, because you used to do it for free, and now you go, oh my god, someone's paying me for what I used to do anyway. I've hit the jackpot. And then you realize, mortgages cost money. And so then you're like, right, now I need to live, and maybe I've either exhausted my talent or I've exhausted my networking skills or whatever. But it's like, to be honest, to bring it back to the whole Lizzo thing, to bring it back to the whole, Alan, it's your catchphrase at this point. I'm waiting for the t-shirt. Reality exists. This is this is the state of things. You are absolutely within your rights to curse at the sky, but the sky has no obligation to do anything about it.
Exactly. Like the one of the big things I know about the Screen Actors Guild strike is that like they're trying to get they're lying and trying to say that they're getting better pay for like extras. Do you know what extras used to be?
Yeah.
Volunteers. Like shit. Like, I mean, like I'm sorry, but like, so you make a job, like you think a profession is being the dude that picks up a paper in the background on a movie. Like how much do you think you should get paid for that, really? You know, like I mean, if anything, you get paid in the connections you make and the possibility of like all that shit, because that person's way more likely to be discovered than like me or you. You know, like I mean, It's such a weird thing that we have. It's the same thing with like athletes. The pay for athletes is astronomically out of control. But the reason for that is the money that is made by the teams is even more astronomically out of control. And to all the manosphere dudes again too. Stop watching football every fucking week for 5 fucking hours. Pay attention to your family and go work out.
Right. Yeah. Go work out.
Like people ask me, like, what sports do you watch? I have not sat down and watched a league game in forever. Do you know the last like kind of sport I watched? I watched wrestling occasionally because Mark trains Sheamus.
Yeah.
So
which is awesome. Yeah.
So Mark trains Sheamus. So that's got me back into it. That and one of my best friends is brother-in-law, the Undertaker. So I was like, so it's like,
you mean the GOAT? I fucking love the Undertaker. Okay, go on. I'm sorry.
Jeff McCool from the band Moxon Creek his sister is Mimi McCool, and she's married to
the Undertaker. That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
So I'll watch for that, and I still don't watch it all because I'd rather be doing shit than sitting around watching other dudes do shit.
Yeah.
And I think it's just this weird thing. Like we've made it seem like we know, for instance, like in sports, right? They can make $100 million after being a felon. You can't get a job. You can't get a CNA job for $15 an hour being a felon.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
interesting.
it's
That's
just
really interesting.
It's just this weird thing because then they become culture, right? Like people want to emulate the people they look up to. So they want to emulate movie stars. They want to emulate sports stars. They want to emulate all these people that are deified because they want that smoke. They want to feel. They want that. They want that. That juice, right? So they emulate them, but you're not them because you got to still live a fucking real life, and you can't be acting all fucking all gangster, and you can't be acting all fucking like you're better than everybody else when you got to go to fucking work at Target every fucking day. You know what I mean? And it has fucked an entire generation of people. People like Lizzo she's fucked an entire generation of women, if you ask me. All these women are like, oh, body positivity, the Lizzo, like, love me for who? You look bad. Like, you look unhealthy. And all these, like, Lizzo's 35. I guarantee you in 10 years, Lizzo will either be dead or have lost weight. I can guarantee it. She is fat as fuck and has been fat as fuck her entire life, and she beats up on her body dancing on stage. I can guarantee you that at some point in time, her knees are going to say "fuck this shit," and she's either going to lose weight or she'll get so fat she'll likely be dead in 10 to 15 years. If she does not change, she's not like some. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but about a few years ago, she did this thing where she was pretending like she had never dipped an Oreo cookie into a glass of milk. Like she was like, supposedly you do it this way. And
what's this weird crunchy thing?
And I just added a little thing onto the end of it. Like, are we going to? This woman's so full of shit. Are we going to pretend like she's never fucking dipped an Oreo cookie before? Like, for real, right? Right. Super fucking pissed. Like, you don't know, and she does this and she does that, blah blah blah. And they're like, she's richer than you and more famous.
What do these people get out of so fervently defending?
That
woman lying about dipping an Oreo
really
into a glass of milk.
They really lost their shit when I retorted back like, well, she can have more money than me and she can have be more famous than me. But when her grandkids, in 20 or 30 years, when her grandkids are wondering where she's at, she's gonna be a memory, and I'm still gonna be here. And people got fucking pissed, but it's real. Like she's not gonna live 30 more. She's not gonna live 30 more years living a rock star life, being a fucking 320-pound woman. Like that's insane.
Not least because she's gonna need her own independent tour bus because nobody else will be able to.
She's gonna keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And
Let's not make jokes at her expense, okay, fellas. Let's show some decorum. All right, just
I love that.
Go easy.
I liked it.
I go on.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that look, at the end of the day, these people are grifters. All of them are grifters. Whether it be the Barbie movie, right?
Oh my God, have you guys seen it?
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
Ben has seen it. Yeah. What do you think, Ben?
Who'd have thought eunuchs would make a comeback in 2023? Like not since Game of Thrones have eunuchs been fashionable on the silver screen. Like it's so. I know, obviously, like one of the things that I have, like I listened to the most recent Joe Rogan Tim Dillon episode. Say that again.
Or was it? Yeah. Did you lose a bet?
No,
was it a deal with your wife? Okay, it wasn't a deal like, hey, I'll go watch Barbie if you go watch Oppenheimer.
No, I wouldn't be married to somebody who's enticed to watch, who's actually invigorated to watch.
So Barbie. You did it for the love of the game.
You're saying. I did it. Look, I don't like to be outraged without knowing precisely why.
Fair enough.
I watched it in order to learn about why and the problem is it was definitely confirmation bias because I went in loaded with preconceptions, but it's like I've tried to entertain it. Like the thing that I get is I was listening to Joe Rogan and Tim Dillon, and they talked about it, and they made some good points. Which is like it's for little girls who play with Barbie dolls who want to believe that girl power and girls and you can have bikini clad women on the Supreme Court and like they're living in that fantasy land. And it's like, do you know what? Fair enough, man. Like fair play. But it's like the bit that gets me is it's like, but we know that's not all it is. Like, we know that's not all this movie is. This movie is there to plant a seed. And when Ken is in the back of the car going, can I come with you? First of all, being in the back of the car. Like, I was a passenger. Look, I was a passenger, right, in my wife's car. We were driving through London, and 4 Arab dudes in a Range Rover crossed us at a roundabout, and they looked at me and all shook their heads. Like, because in their world, of course, that's just alien. The idea of, like, why is this dickhead letting his wife drive? And it was,
and they were right. They were correct.
I knew that's what they were thinking. And I said to my wife such, I was like, that is exactly what they're saying. So why would they say that? So, because if this was in where they're from, we would be pulled over. But that's a different story. But like, I was sitting there, and it's like, when Ken's in the back, and then he goes, can I come with you, Barbie? And Barbie goes, yes. And Ken goes like this, and he punches the air like that because he's so happy that she let him come with her. It's like, I get that it's supposed to be fantasy, girl power, all that kind of stuff. But it's also like this. Now, I'm sure that it's actually just a psyop, personally, this whole phenomenon of women breaking up with their boyfriends after seeing the Barbie movie. I don't think that's happening. I think they're publishing these headlines because they want that to happen. So they're trying to influence it, because the media, as we know, is flipped. It doesn't report stories, it creates stories. Right. And it's just like, but oh man, it's so nauseating to watch, because what's crazy about it as well is the Lego movie. A lot of people leveled the criticism at that it's basically a feature-length advert, but that criticism is not being leveled at Barbie. Like, it is
an advert. I mean, it's an advert for Lego. Yeah, I mean, like, of course it is.
Which is fine. Which I'm fine with, by the way. I'm not fine with whatever is going on with Barbie. By the way, shout out to who was it? Shai Franklin Steen. That was hilarious. Guys, come on now. Lizzo has a lot on her plate, and these are heavy allegations. That made me laugh real hard. Shout out to you. Shout out to Squeaky Wombat. More jokes. Yeah, no, Alan and Ben and I, we've got our moments. We've got our moments. Yeah. No, when it comes to the Barbie movie, Ben, I've told you how I feel about this. I don't like how people have like come out and been like, "Oh, the Barbie movie's really, really bad. Can you believe it's really bad?" Of course, I fucking believe it's bad. What do you mean? Like, why are you surprised? Like, what did you think it was? You thought it was going to be good? You thought it was going to be a good film? You thought it was going to be Citizen Kane? No, it's a film. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to be. Yeah. It's not going to be, and it's not meant to be good. And it's also meant to. The thing that like strikes me about it, is if you haven't seen it, basically, Ken goes to the real world. In the Barbie world, everything is run by women and everything's peaceful. Ken goes to the Kens. I said the Bens, Freudian slip. The Kens are treated with disrespect.
How dare you?
Then they come to, much like in the real world, and the Kens go to the real world, and suddenly they're respected, which was a weird message, in my opinion, to send. Like, it's like, if in the context of patriarchy. Also, I've told you about this, Ben, the circumstances of what's her name, the Barbie character, played by Margot Robbie, being like sexually harassed, like publicly, openly in front of a cop and several men, and no one.
L.A.
In LA, on Venice Beach of all places, is so implausible. It was just like, yo, you need this to be true, because if it isn't, you're gonna lose so much money. You're gonna lose so much money. Yeah, I don't get it.
I think that the movie theaters are the ones that push the line about, like, people are going to see this and Oppenheimer in the same day, and here's results. Like, no, they're not. You just want them to. You want them to see 2 movies in a day. Like, yeah. And to me, like, I won't see the Barbie movie, but I will. See
I want it known, by the way, I did not pay for a cinema ticket. I have the internet. I paid to go and see Oppenheimer. I did not pay to go and see Barbie. And just one final shout out to Slastukin67 for the comment Citizen Ken, which I want as a spin-off to the Barbie movie. I want Citizen Kane retold from the perspective of a genitalless eunuch called Ken, who wears an open Hawaiian shirt and carries a surfboard everywhere.
Is it a genitalless eunuch? It doesn't matter. It's fine.
And there's a redundancy within the.
So in the movie, they actually made him genitalless, right?
Well, no, like I think they talk about how they have. I think they do actually reference that they have no genitals. But when I call him a eunuch, it's like, the Kens are just in the background.
Yeah, they don't do
Like
anything.
they are literally like that. So their whole premise or their whole life in Barbie land is to get the approval of Barbie. They're simps, basically, which is weird because I thought that's what the left wanted. Like I thought they didn't they like that? Because that is like, but then it's still sort of leveled as a kind of a gotcha moment. Like it seems like it's not a good thing that Ken is a eunuch and just sort of in the background. Like it's conflicting.
I find it weird
I
because
haven't
like I
thought
do
it through enough.
think that there's a lot of like younger men that relate to this movie. Like I mean, which is super fucking sad.
They're not men.
Yeah, but they, like at some point in time, if we don't watch it, they're gonna have to fucking fight a war for us. So I mean, which is real, you know?
Which is real, but they're more actually. I wish I my goddamn doctor's assistant. She's not once written a prescription, like had a prescription written properly. Anyways, it doesn't matter. More young men are actually conservative now than in any other time in history. This is a study that was done by the University of Michigan. And so it honestly gives me hope. What's interesting, though, is that the division is along gender lines. So if you are a young man, if you are a young Gen Z dude, you are more likely to be conservative and possess conservative values and views on masculinity, as opposed to if you're a young woman. If you're a young woman, you're more likely to be on the left. Now, these things haven't always been consistent. It was different in the 70s. It was different in the 80s. The study goes deeply into that. But now more than ever, the greatest predictor of a young man's political position of a man between the ages of 18, I think, to like 25, it's most likely going to be conservative more than any other time in history, which is very interesting to me.
Yeah,
so,
that's a good thing though, because frankly, I mean, I don't even mean it politically, like because frankly, like there's a difference between being conservative politically and conservative as a person, if you ask me.
Right.
Because conservative politically, like if you're just like, oh, I'm a Republican because I'm conservative,
whatever.
There's a lot of things that I'm conservative about. I actually did a thing on Twitter yesterday that I wanted to go through with you guys real quick and to finally end this off, because I get this a lot. Like speaking of, like, since we got all the way over here, I get accused of being what's called alt-right all the fucking time now.
You're not alt-right.
Like I'm like some sort of massive like alt-right fucking whatever. So people that know my shit from before the pandemic, I really didn't speak about politics or my thoughts on anything really at all, because like I was just trying to get people healthy. And then now, once the pandemic hit, you really have no choice but to either to kind of pick a side. And I find that to be a huge mistake being made by a lot of other fitness professionals that don't actually like let their thoughts be known. But I'm going to pull this up here. I'll get us logged in. And I just wanted your guys' thoughts on some of this stuff. So screen share. No, there it is. Okay. So this is my thoughts. So I said I get accused of being alt-right fairly often. So here's my thoughts.
Okay.
All gun laws are unconstitutional. Any politicians in D.C. who doesn't realize they have no business regulating what shall not be infringed and campaigns to remove all federal gun laws, they are not working for the people. And I really mean that. I really believe that. All gun laws, the federal government has no business regulating at all. Frankly, the government, even the state government, doesn't have any business regulating at all what should be uninfringible. I truly believe that if you are able to be a free person in our society and above 18 years old, you should be able to buy any firearm you want, carry it wherever you want, and have nobody know it because you're a free citizen. Corporations are not fucking people. Like Citizens United should be repealed. We are far past due for having term limits on all federally elected positions in Congress. We have no business sending Ukraine or any other country money that we have to borrow first. Imagine like you're in debt, like you're borrowing money every single fucking day to keep your household afloat, right? Mm-hmm. But you borrow money to send to your friend.
Yeah.
First of all, you'd never get approved for that loan because you already are in debt. You wouldn't be able to borrow money. Like nobody would lend you the money to send to your friends. Instead of defending Ukraine's borders, we should be using all resources to defend ours. I spelled border wrong, and it's driving me crazy. We should drill, frack, and mine as much as humanly possible within our own country. The government has no business telling you which plants you should or shouldn't be allowed to grow and use on your own property. I don't give a fuck what it is. If you want to grow poppies,
we don't even have that one in Britain. I'm amazed that that's a thing in the States. Like even in the UK,
you can't grow your you can't like people can't grow and use their own marijuana. Like I'm amazed by that. Like still like, and there's a huge history about why we can't. I don't know if you guys know this, but marijuana was made illegal not because it was marijuana, but because they also wanted to make hemp illegal, and their machine known as a dearticulator for hemp had just been created where they were able to separate it into fiber and fuel and everything like that. And Andrew Carnegie, along with other people, got together because they were heavily invested in the petroleum industry, and they had just come out with rayon, which is a petroleum-based artificial fabric, which I find it amazing how people are like, oh, I believe in the government, I believe in the environment and everything like that. And like they're wearing like rayon and like all sorts of like, you're literally wearing oil, you dumb fucks. It's so stupid. But anyway, we should dismantle the FDA and the USDA. States can decide what the parameters are. All income-based tax is theft. There should be a sales tax on all sales in the United States at the end point of sale. This should include any stock transactions. Do you know that there's not a fucking sales tax on stock? There's no.
Oh, I know.
That's insane. Yeah. You know how much money? Like if we just put like a 0.0, and this is a Bernie Sanders idea, by the way. But if we just put like a 0.05% tax on stock market transactions, it would fucking generate trillions of dollars in a year. Like trillions of fucking dollars. Like there'd be no need to actually have income tax if we did that. Fucking crazy, right? Property tax is to be immediately abolished. It is unconstitutional as it does not allow for the liberty of property ownership. The freedom that comes from owning your own land is impossible when you have to pay the government yearly just to own it, or they can take it from you. So you technically never own land in America because you have to pay property tax. And I'm going to argue that is unconstitutional because it takes away the liberty of owning your own land. So it takes away your freedom. Dismantle the CDC, FDA, USDA, FBI, CIA, NIH, IRS, the Department of Education, Department of Justice, ATF, and almost all other government agencies. The federal government was initially brought out in order to protect the people's rights and to provide common defense. Why they think we should be educating our fucking children, they should have anything to say to that, I have no fucking idea. Why they think they should be telling me what I can fucking eat, I have no fucking idea. Why the CDC has had any power in the last couple of years, I have no fucking idea. It's completely all unconstitutional. Any and all data the federal government has on anything should be immediately unclassified. The only secret that the people that should be kept from the people is troop movements during an active deployment. So like this whole concept of that's classified information, it's a government secret. Why the fuck does the government get to keep secret from its boss, the people? You know, there should be no classified, nothing should be classified besides troop movements. Like, like any meeting, I put next, all members of Congress should have live feeds on their office and have to wear a body cam.
Yeah.
Like we should be able to tune into what my congressman is saying, doing at any given fucking time. Right.
Yep.
We need to work immediately towards a healthier population. We cannot be 60% on daily medications and be considered a free people. The owners of the pharma companies, which by the way, the two major companies that own most of the pharmaceutical companies in the world are BlackRock and Vanguard.
Jesus, BlackRock again. Fucking man.
Yeah.
Okay.
The owners of the pharma companies the owners of the pharma companies could literally bring America to its knees by stopping the population from getting their meds. Pfizer's owned by Vanguard. It's BlackRock and Vanguard own all these things. And we are starting to see, by the way, a medication shortage in hospitals. It is starting. It is the next thing that they can push their thumb on. You watch. I said it here first. All foreign aid of any kind should be immediately halted. We should not borrow money to give away. I kind of covered that earlier. All illegal immigrants should be immediately deported. Anyone here legally should be welcomed with open arms. If you came through the proper channels, and I'm not saying we shouldn't let other people through the proper channels, but if you just walked across the border, your ass should fucking get put back out. And to prevent that from coming back in, we should close all foreign military bases and use the Navy for advanced positioning. Use the returning troops to line the southern and northern borders. It is insane that we are not having a military presence. It should be presence, not pretense, at our borders when we are providing aid to a foreign entity that is at war with one of our supposed greatest enemies. Like we are at war right now, basically, in a proxy fashion with Russia through Ukraine, and they could be sending people through our border at any given fucking, like just walking across the border. Like how is it like we are not protecting? That's not national security at all. The pharma and healthcare industries want you fat and sedentary. They make more money and they make more money the sicker and weaker you are. They are out of control and literally experimenting on population level while siphoning money out of the people. COVID was a cold. We should have never done anything differently than we did every fucking flu season, people. Most people know it, but don't want to admit it because then they have to think about how stupid they were and how much risk they put their children at. And the Patriot Act should be immediately found unconstitutional and as it is and reversed. The government should know almost nothing about us, and we should know everything about them and so much more. So that is my take. I wanted to make sure we can discuss for a little bit. I just wanted to make, sorry, there you go. I just wanted to discuss real quick if anybody has any questions for me about that. I know it's a little weird because frankly, I'm not a political party person. Like I'm not a diehard Trumper and I'm not, a diehard Democrat or anything like that. I'm not a libertarian. I am a constitutional conservative is how I look at myself.
Yeah, it sounds
with very liberal ideas. Like I believe in a Robin Hood tax, which is what the thing on the stock market. The one thing that I can say that I truly changed my thought process on in the course of the last 4 years was that I don't believe in universal health care anymore at all. And I used to believe like we should be able to all pay for, pay a lump, like not a lump sum, but pay a certain percentage and then not get charged anything else. I used to very, very, very wholeheartedly believe that. And I don't believe that anymore because we have people that do not take any participation in their own health. And it disproportionately burdens the rest of society. But that's it. Yeah. Questions?
So, I mean, it doesn't sound like, look, man, everybody gets called far right,
alt-right,
I believe. Alt-right. Yeah, alt-right. I don't know. When it comes to that stuff, everybody gets called alt-right. What I've heard so far is a combination of different philosophies, including constitutionalism, including some forms of libertarianism, and whether it be anarcho-libertarianism or free market cap libertarianism in other ways. And then another way, and then the other thing I saw or heard was formulation of some. I guess this is the one thing that I do kind of have a bit of confusion on is how are you supposed to defend against pharmaceutical companies without some sort of apparatus? That would be my question.
Well, if we were healthy as a population, the pharmaceutical companies would have almost no power.
But how do we ensure that, though, is the thing?
Well, very, very realistically, that's why we the people need to get healthy. Like make America healthy again, because we're enslaved to the pharmaceutical industry. They could fuck us. Like could, if they just turned off the flow of pharmaceuticals to the United States of America, 30 million people could die in a month. And that's a real number.
Right.
Right. I mean, that's not only a real number, that is kind of a weak number because it could be a lot more. 60% of the population is on some sort of daily medication to function. 60%. If you just count the people that are on diabetes medications and heart medications to stay alive, I mean, shit, right there. Yeah, fucking, we could lose 40 million fucking people. I mean, so how do we do that? We also, I mean, very realistically, all of this has to come with the people. We need to unite and do this together as people and not worry about our government worrying about it. Because the government is owned. So the
feds are out. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now I'm starting to see it. Okay.
I mean, if I had my way, we'd have a convention of the states and reboot the federal government, if not abolish it. Because I mean, they're clearly not running. They are clearly, visually, in my opinion, they are clearly not acting in the best interest of the United States people. Clearly, 100%. I neither side, because I even hear the Republicans be like, the Republicans are pro-gun. No, they're not. No, they're not. They are not pro-gun. They are absolutely not. Trump actually signed more gun restrictions in law than just about any president for a while. But not to mention that, all gun laws are unconstitutional. And the federal government's job is to protect our constitutional rights. The rights aren't given to us by the Constitution. They are given to us by nature, by our birth. And any time any law or anything like that gets put in the place of one of them, it is an infringement upon that right. Just like right now, I'm being shadow banned still on YouTube. I would argue that YouTube and social media. I would argue that social media platforms are the new public square, right?
Yeah.
So
yes,
absolutely. There should be free and open access to any and all. As long as I am not calling for violence against a particular person or group, and as long as I am not putting out like nothing dealing with minors or anything like that. Right. I mean, I think we should protect our children from the internet until they're 18. I really do, because it's not a safe place. Something like 75% of all child trafficking is orchestrated through Facebook. I mean, that's a real fucking statistic, but they're not going to do anything about Facebook.
Yeah, or Instagram.
Instagram. Yeah. Instagram is shown to, in fact, worsen eating disorders in young people.
Yeah. Oh, what a surprise. Yeah, I mean, there's some things I don't necessarily agree with, but there's a lot I do agree with. God, there's the Ukraine thing. I will never understand. I've yet to meet somebody from the US who is a big Ukraine supporter, who's like a real person, like someone I meet like at a bar or in real life. I've never seen this feels like a purely sort of neoliberal scheme, and to what end I'm not really sure. So yeah, I'm on you. I'm definitely on you with that one. And then when it comes to health, well, you know how I feel about that. My worry with that is that are we far gone? I don't know.
We're over the tipping point for public health. We are way over the tipping point. There's going to be a mass culling in like next 10 to 20 years. Like, look at Lizzo. Lizzo's 35. When Lizzo hits 50, and we have a lot of people that are in their mid to late 20s, early 30s that are very, very seriously out of shape. Like 20 years ago, when I was 30, like people didn't get fat until they were like in their fucking like 50s or 60s when they slowed down. Right. And then everybody was like, well, it's age. No, it's that you slowed down. It's that you stopped moving as much. Right. But now we've got people that have grown up fat. We have people that have been fat since they were like 12. So that their lifespan is dramatically shortened unless they do something about it. And frankly, where there's going to be a mass culling, we can't keep up with it. I mean, diabetes is skyrocketing. The wave of type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, cancers, those sorts of things, even without the experimental gene therapy, just how our lifestyle is in America, the wave of chronic illness that is coming and death is coming is going to be biblical. I mean, like I'm talking like possible population collapse. Like we have a whole generation of people that is like majority fat and sickly already. I'm already younger, so they're going to pass away 20 years before they should likely do so, and they're going to be less productive for about 20 years before that. Most of them are like a lot of people aren't productive now in their fucking 40s at all. Right. So when those people that are people that are 30 now that are unproductive because they're so fat turn 50 and start passing away, the 70-year-olds that bore them are also going to be passing away, and we're not going to have any replacement. So there's a possibility of population collapse in the United States. A very real possibility of population collapse.
I think we're already there, to be honest.
We're over the tipping point. Yeah, we are absolutely over the tipping point. There's not a chance in hell that, like, especially when you've got the mainstream media talking to these people about how like they can just be like this and we need to celebrate fat people and fuck that shit. Fuck all your feelings too. Lose the fucking weight. You're a burden upon society, But I agree with you. I mean, like the problem is, like what I just said will get buried. And don't get me wrong. I hear people talking about it occasionally. Like I hear mainstream people talking about it occasionally. Like, but and I know this is going to sound like it's kind of just because of what I do for a living. There is not a greater issue than lifestyle-driven chronic illness, especially obesity in America. It is bad for the planet. It's bad for the country. It is a national security threat. It's a national security threat because, just like I said, the people that own the pharmaceutical companies don't need to listen to a country. Like, I mean, they're international, and the people that own them are BlackRock and Vanguard. They're their own entities. We have the countries, and then we have these people. They're their own entities, and they could easily just shut the fucking faucet off, and and then they could come to the United States government, being like, "Here's our list of demands. Meet them, or 20 million people will die." Well, we've already seen how people freaked out about fucking a cold. Imagine like the entire population. Like imagine the population. 60% of people are on fucking antidepressants. Imagine everybody going cold turkey.
I was just about to say that. Yeah. People don't, because that's the thing. That's the other part of it, is the mental health part, where it's like, not like how much of mental health can be accounted for the fact that there's no movement, right? Like I find myself waking up in a bad mood, and then I go and exercise. Guess what? I'm not in a bad mood anymore. I'm in a great mood for the rest of the day. And it's interesting that we don't, maybe Alan, you know more about this, but there doesn't seem to be a discussion related to the ties between, obesity and overall mental health status. I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, they're okay.
Yeah, I mean, just the state of chronic inflammation causes the neurons in the brain to move slower, causes cognitive dysfunction. I mean, people that eat ultra-processed foods to greater than 20% of their daily caloric intake, or an average of 20% of daily caloric intake after 8 years, a mean of 8 years, show like a 28% reduction in cognitive function, and a 25% increased rate of decline for executive function, which is problem solving, those sorts of things, right? and
you don't need those. Throw those out.
Beyond that, the amount of physical pain the person is in, and they're just in a chronic inflammatory state. It's been linked to depression, anxiety, so many things. It's this thing with these new drugs I keep talking about too. Like Wegovy shouldn't be prescribed to most fat people, but it's getting prescribed to everybody. Wegovy and Ozempic. It says right on Wegovy's website that like one of the contra things is depression, anxiety, and suicidal ideation. Like, so find me a fat person willing to inject themselves once a week with a very delirious drug that has well advertised negative side effects, like, like explosive diarrhea, constipation, nausea, people having stomach paralysis. Like, these are well advertised. So find me a person that's willing to take all this at a high dollar cost too, even with insurance at a high dollar cost, that doesn't have some sort of depression. Like find me somebody that's so serious about losing weight that they're willing to take this drug that doesn't have some depression, right? Like I have clients whose doctors were talking to them about going on Wegovy, and the person has had a previous suicide attempt. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Like, it's medical malpractice, right? I mean, there's it's almost, it's impossible to be mentally healthy when you're not physically healthy. Their hormones are fucked up. Their hormone balance is all off. For a 300-pound male, their testosterone is tanked and their estrogen is fucking sky high. I mean, because fat is an estrogenic organ.
Bro, you don't have to be fat for your mental health to be dependent upon physical activity. I'm not fat. Oh, no. If I don't exercise, guess what? I'm not in a good mood. I'm not nice to people. You can I can tell. Yeah.
That's also a thing. There's plenty of studies that show that physical exercise helps release dopamine and endorphins in the system, and causes happiness and stuff like that. There's many studies that are along those lines that don't get talked about at all. Instead, we got to feel like, oh, make sure you don't fucking, don't set fitness goals. You're a fucking white supremacist.
Today I learned from Mark that I'm a white supremacist because I wake up at 4 to 5 a.m. every day to go work out. So
yeah,
I'm sorry, Alan.
About you though, Baz. I've always said that.
Look, I think some apologies are in store. If there's anything anyone knows about me, I'm a big fan of white supremacy. That's why I wake up early in the morning, not to work out and to feel better or whatever. That would be, stupid. I often
find that when you've got crosses to burn, it's best to do them
early in the morning
rather than in the dark.
There's a lot to do. I have a busy day, as you know, Ben. I've got a lot to do, and it's the only time I can fit it in. So, yeah. No, one of the most profound attention. Yep, go on.
Oh, read it off.
was going to say, shout out to Ricky's people. 100%. One of the most profound unintentional benefits from daily yoga has been mood regulation. Ricky's people, I am with you on that. It is unbelievable how much mood can be affected. It's a combination of exercise and meditation, ancient practice, thousands of years old, and yet not everyone does it.
White supremacist.
So,
that means my wife is a white supremacist. Like, and anybody in the crowd would know, because she's a yoga teacher, TRX instructor, group fitness instructor. She helped write.
Sounds
she's
like
my coach,
white
right?
supremacist.
Yeah, she's my coach. So, and anybody in the chat will laugh at that because she's like the sweetest human being alive. People wonder how we're together. But listen, guys, we're a little over an hour and 20 minutes. It was great seeing you guys again. I'm up for this coming up week 2. If you guys are,
let's do it.
So
yeah,
let's do
I'm
it.
down.
And I hope everybody has a great day. I did want to remind people that just joined out in a little bit, a little bit late, that we are waiting on Alchemy to be delivered to the warehouse. It probably won't get delivered until the 15th or 16th. So we are going to be launching on the 22nd, not the 15th. So it is one more week, and then finally is launched. But Alchemy is coming. Hang on a second. Let me get my bottle out. Bam! I'm so excited about it. But and besides that, everybody else, have a great day and have a good weekend. God damn.
Peace, guys.